Oh. Oh, I need that wire. I hope this charges it. The most helpful possible. Stop all production. So fun. When you have to charge the mouse. So fun. All right. I have an ST Explorer. I'm gonna get set up for. Let's clean our tank. I don't even want to try and do that. There we go. I don't even know how much battery I'm going to be able to get. 2! Okay, cool. It is charging. At least it's doing that. I go here. Click that one. What's up? How's business? Down 15%. It's definitely slowed down. You have that initial like boom and then it comes back down. Can you remove creases after install? No. You can take away a little bit of the visual, but you can't just like outright remove them. It's now a permanent imperfection in the film, but part of why you see it is there's air. Air, scratches, dirt. It all shows like bright white. So with like a hard plastic card, you can heat that spot up and try and crush the air out of it. And that'll hide the imperfection somewhat from the outside. And depending on like how bad the crease is, some of them are just always going to be there. Oh, this needs a button push. You are welcome. Oof. Oof. Little one here. Turn the lights off. All right. Let's get our tank and some film. There we go. There we go. Seal it up. %. Wow. I've got lightning. Lightning. I did a software update on this, and it decided to completely wipe the entire device. So that was fun. I don't even know. I think my audio should be fine. Are we good? Or we can turn this one up a little bit. Is that good? Yeah, probably don't want to push it much over that. Okay, where is the other one? What I was trying to do is this. That's it. And then decided to clear my Taco Bell sounds and everything else. Literally wipe the entire device. Which, in streaming, screwing with audio is the worst. It's what I constantly have the most issues with. Well, I guess that and wireless video. Wireless video will just randomly not work. Do you have a filter on the airline? Had some shit come through 100-foot line. Ooh. No, I don't, actually. And you know what I haven't looked at in a little bit? Is the filter inside the hose either. This one. I should put a cone tip on here. It's been a minute. That's not big enough. Oh, now I'm going to get sidetracked. Forgot what size I need for that. I'll dig it out later. It's got... Oh, no, that's a muffler on it. I don't think that has a filter. But no, I got that thing years ago. I've never looked at an air filter on it. But I'm thinking about it now. Okay, we are doing 20 first, and then what do we got on the windshield? 50. We're doing 50 on the windshield. Keg is 3 gallons. They have smaller ones. This is too small. And then they go up from a 3 to a 5, which I feel is too much. I've always used the uh, 3-gallon ones. Just kind of like a nice sweet spot in between being way too much to clean. You don't need that much fluid necessarily inside of a day. Maybe for PPF. But one of the reasons for that is because I would empty out my slip every day. I was so used to the soap breaking down. Now with the DI system, I don't have to, but I do it out of habit. Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. I do have this. Flood damage before dirt spec is my... I'm on the same page with you on that. I was always... I'd use water as a way to move faster. So when you're cleaning something, you can try and use a little bit less water, but like we just didn't have time. So just blast it. Alright, how far down we want to go on this? Oh my god, Ford. Why? See, like, this doesn't even look nice. You can see all the dirt that's in the seal on the inside, or on the outside of the window. So we'll drop this one a little bit lower for that. It would just stand out a lot if you left a gap there. I'm gonna roll that down. Top edge knife. Oops. I forgot to plug my mouse back in. Well, we're not using it. We need to charge it. Da, 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 da. Nice. Looks good. I'll take it. Sneezed and soaked your phone screen? You asked like if you ever sneezed in somebody's window while you were installing it. Just peel. What do you like, Apex? I like it a lot. Oh, like on my streaming phone? I don't know, probably. This thing gets sprayed all the time, though. A 78 Malibu? Yeah, I couldn't tell you about it. I have no idea. I'd look it up. Never done anything older than a 98. Look it up. See if it seems reasonable. And then double your price, at least. Make it with your time. You're going to go through enough film just trying to do a good job there'll be random mistakes that it's, even if it looks like, oh yeah, that's not too bad, you'll just have some random like, oh shit, it's an old car. They always do. All right, so we got to shrink these. Trinidad. Oh, that's fun. Do you have any issues with it peeling after install? No. I've had Windows peel, sure. But not for a while. Ever melt door plastic? Yes. The real trick is trying to hide that after you do. I'm just kidding, don't do that. I caught a Lexus seal on fire once. Can't say I did that. It's always been from touch-ups, though. It's never been from just shrinking. So when you're standing there with a heat gun, just shrinking fingers, you typically get the heat gun way closer to this bottom seal. When I snap it, heat gun stays a little farther away. The film's gonna burn well before any seals begin to melt. But you should at least see them smoking beforehand. I burned my whole shop down. Was it because of a spider? Oh, hang on, let me unplug my mouse so I can scoot this out of the way. Very low. No shit. Slowest charging mouse. It's like one of their dumbest things. You put the charger at the bottom, and then, of course, you don't just think, hey, I should charge my mouse. You know when you get a low in the middle of using it, of course. My Logitech takes normal batteries. Yeah, those are nice. I can't swipe between my desktops, though. So this is like the one reason I keep this mouse. Is so I can do this. Ooh. Everything is just full screen desktop. Swipe in between them. Love it. Everything else is kind of pointless. But it's still like the lightning one. So everything I have is basically like USB-C at this point, and I have to dig through a bunch of stuff for, like, oh god, where did I put that cable? All right, this is looking all right. I know, it's so dumb. It wouldn't be so bad if I could just plug it into every other cable. And it's not something I just want to go swap out for a USB-C plug either. So just like stay stuck with it. Knife blades getting... Oops. Oh, is this one not? Oh, this one wasn't opened. Come on. There we go. I tinted the front sides of my Cadillac SRX thanks to you. Oh, nice job. How do I go about pre-cuts? I already fucked one of them up. So pre-cuts just get you to this point, and then you have to shrink. They just give you patterns. So all the other steps matter. But you have the added, like, shit, of probably enough to do whatever you bought it for. And then, yeah, once you fuck them up, then you're buying more patterns. That's how they get you. How do you feel about two-staging windows? I mean, we're doing it right now. I'd say it would feel pretty okay. Two-staging is great. It's just the way that I learned early on. Can you show how to free cut by hand? I mean, I just did. XPEL 2.0 gel? Oh no, do they really? They've got a new version? But I just bought probably the original one then. Because I was just gonna check it out. I bought like 3 or 4 other gels just to take a look at them. Do you file the edges? No, not typically. Dialing in a Workhorse 1. Dialing in plotters is tough. What can happen is it's not your, or it can be because of your cut strip. So instead of replacing the cut strip, I'm going to add layers of tape over it. That's what I do with my Graphtec now. The Graphtec, I never wanted to gouge it. I never wanted to dig into it, and sure enough, within enough oopsies, it's been cut into some. But I always just refinish the top of it. 1/4 inch pinstripe. Yep, that'll work. Basically, any smooth tape will work. Glass aid tape would work. I've grabbed this. This is a smooth, cloth-free. It's a film tape. It's a Teflon film tape. But I put 2 layers down because inevitably we'll cut through something and it'll start to gouge it. So I do 2 layers of it now just to try and flatten out that surface as much as I can. All right, let's go to the other side. This side looks good. Pretty. Where do I get tint from? Get your screenshots ready. Here. And then you can use this code. Wow, this is confusing now. 313 Tint to get 5% off. 5% on tools? 5% off tools, not on. I wrote that. What's the name of the tape? Look up Teflon tape. But there's 2 types. There's a cloth Teflon, and then there's like a film Teflon. They're both like the same type of thing, except the cloth one has cloth in it. So it's a little bit more bumpy. But there's a Teflon film tape or PTFE film tape. Does anybody request reflective tint? Not on cars, no. Not from me. If somebody requested reflective tint, I would do one of the architectural films. You just gotta make sure it has the right adhesive. But you could. It's just also asking, like, hey, how can I get pulled over faster? Do something that stands out more. What's the heat gun? Oh, this is just a Wagner. They're like $30. I remember the days when these were like 20. Even then, inflation hasn't hit those too bad, I suppose. Tape. We're gonna grab a blade. Okay, so I don't understand this. iPhone is asking the caller for information. Turn the digital crown for details. Why, instead of wasting that space with that message, why doesn't it just tell me what's going on with my phone? Oh. Hey, can I call you back in a little bit?
Sure.
Okay, thanks. What tint would you recommend on the front windshield? Depends on the look that you're going for. If you want something that's fairly light, that you can still tell is tinted, that's not really going to draw much attention, 50. If you want like a noticeably private and darker look, but still functional to drive with, 35. If you want something a bit in between, 40. Or 5. You could just do 5. Sri Lanka. I'm not sure what to tell you. I don't know what the best tool distributor over there would be. Reusable door covers that don't get in the way. No, I've never really came across a system that I liked long term. Problem is they get wet and then they're hard to just keep. A lot of the inserts break. So you just kind of have to rebuy them every once in a while anyways. So you either kind of use something that tapes to the top of the door, or pop the door panel back, and then you can tuck a towel in a little bit easier. Line this up as close as we can without going over. We can get really close on this. These laminated windows, they're very, very consistent. I had 50% reflective tint on my windshield. I think it was easier to see out of at night. Well, you know, I'm gonna have to get rid of that card. 50% in most films should be easy to see through. I think I'm gonna have to go buy something. What? This one's got a little nubbin on it. Right there. It's no good. Okay, there's a few questions. The reusable door covers. I have 50% reflective tint. I didn't know Detroit still existed. Me either. Is that legal? With a doctor's note, yes. I usually pull off the top liner. When you're pulling off the liner, you need to anchor the rest of the film somewhere. Don't let it just curl off of the top. I'll give you an example with our scrap liner here. Or maybe I have a scrap piece I can show you with. I probably do. I'm going to tuck this one over here. Let me get this in here first. I ruined tint on my own car with a heat gun. Welcome to the club. That's part of the process. That's how you learn. Learning to shrink. There's many hard parts, but learning to shrink is always a big hurdle. So just like I messed up my first piece of tint on my car. Everybody does. Get another one, try again. That's how we all learn. You're squeezing all that water into the door. That's right. No concern, actually. Do you know why? Because we have what are called weep holes at the bottom. Like, for example, here. Where's the water going? It's going in the car. When it rains, water goes into your door. I can't believe you drilled into a customer's door. Okay, I do have one story, though. That's kind of fun. So I tinted a customer's car. This was quite a few years ago somewhere else. And the car was just filthy. But it was a removal and a retint. Finished up with the doors. Pulled the car out. And when I rounded the corner, I could hear water sloshing in the doors. It did have weep holes, but they were plugged. So I unplugged it, and dude, I shot a video. I'll see one of these days. I'll see if I can find it again. I posted it. Dude, you just had a stream of water shooting out the door. Oh, it was so comical. Made sure that drained. All right, we gotta get this set up. We're doing the windshield. Never touched tint, but I'm starting my tint journey. Good luck, sir. Get this all covered up. See, isn't that nice? Take a seat cover, you throw it on this way, you get a screen like this, and it just stays. And then we'll throw a towel over the rest. Somebody asked though. Oh, it's a little buried in here. Where's the pieces that I just had? These ones. Let me grab one of these. Somebody asked how we peel So part of the problem that some people have with peeling is that it's curled up over a surface like this. And when it's curled up over the top of the film isn't anchored. So we use surface tension a lot. So if I go to peel this window and it's just up over the top here and I go to peel it, what happens is it wants to do this. It just wants to fall off the window because there's nothing holding this here, and then you're trying to do one of these numbers, right? Also, people have a tendency to pull outwards rather than down. So if we adjust this, your pattern, so it's always on the window completely, the top edge is literally clung to the top, and then when you peel straight down, you don't peel out. Out will want to rip it off the window. Down keeps everything attached. So just always pay attention to like the actual surface tension and what the edges of the film are trying to cling to when you're doing that. Okay. Where'd my other one go? I need my other one of these. I might just chop this one, so then I get two. Can I do that really quick? Just right in the middle. I don't know how stuff like this goes missing, but these are really nice for just putting over here and stepping there rather than, but then you have to like cut apart a seat cover, and that's less fun. Nobody wants to do that. But when I step here, I'm not going to put shoe prints and scuffs in there. We have the seat covers, yeah. They're one of my favorite things that I think most people don't realize we have. What is that? Ew. It's on the inside. I wonder if that's from somebody sneezing and going. I think I gotta pull the housing because I'd like to get the mirror out of the way too. Oh, we should have called the seat covers seat guards. Everything's guard. No, you can't. You can't smell the baby shampoo. We're not using baby shampoo. I sprayed baby shampoo the other day, though, and whew, I haven't smelled that smell in a while. You get so used to it, you don't smell it. Any of the soaps you use, you just like, you can't smell them anymore. A little fart for the chat. I don't know if I answered your question. I don't know if I answered it either. You can ask again though. I don't really see usernames. They're on the screen, but I just answer questions. Recommended tint brand, GeoShield. That's what we're doing right now. But you're just saying that because you use it. Yeah, of course. That's what I use. The tape, this is Glass Aid. I was gone. Were you able to show how to cut the gasket? Oh. I didn't show it. Specifically, I did the doors when I cut them initially. But if you're here, that's what we were waiting for. We were making sure you were back in the chat. So when you're cutting against the seal, what many people do not realize when they start is there's two parts of your knife. So we have a piece of film here. We're going to cut the side. Make sure we're facing the right way. So what people tend to do is they just extend their knife any distance. But the problem with that is that the tint can ride up and down the film, and that's where you get wavy and uneven cuts. Also, much more blade is exposed than you need. And so what can happen is on particular seals, let's use the side one for example. If my knife is extended farther, I can hack into this one. Just not being careful. We just need the very tip of the blade. You see that? Just the tip. Make all the jokes you want. And the other thing is we don't want to angle the knife inwards. Angling it inwards is obviously going to then dig into the seal. You want to angle it outwards. All you're doing is using this as a guide. So I have my knife angled a little bit outwards at a relatively low angle to the window. So you put this there. Let's just make sure this is tacked so it's not going to move. Small piece. I'm going to find where the edge of that is. And then start right there on the edge and see how, again, we're using those things together, just the very tip of the blade, and my knife is angled away. And you can make a nice clean cut without damaging their seal, and it's just riding right against that. Or we can do things another way. And if you have a glass board set up and you're like, man, I want to learn how to hand cut, but I'm scared about damaging the car. Another thing that you can do is you can take a Sharpie and then use it just like a knife. So instead of using the knife here, I'm going to take a Sharpie. I'm going to draw where that line is. Ta-da! And now I know where my edge is. You can take it over to a board, different surface, and we can cut outside that Sharpie line. And look, you got a nice clean cut without even touching the car. You can do your full pattern that way. Mark the side edges, use the factory bottom edge of the film, and then the only edge that you have to cut on the car is going to be the top edge, but that's going to be rolled down. So you're never really taking a blade anywhere you might risk damaging something. Snuggle sheets. We should have put this on. Oh, we got a lot of cleaning on this windshield to do anyways. We got like a sticker down here. We got schmutz up there. We got something else over there. We got to cover it. Thoughts on pre-cut? Patterns can be good, but you just have to do everything else. You still have to shrink. Sometimes you have to weed them. So if you're just like, hey, I want to buy a couple pieces of film for the front doors, you would have a much easier time doing pre-cuts, but you still have to do all the other steps. Pre-cuts just gives you the shape. Oh, geez. They had a chip up here. Damn. At least it's out of the way. Oh, fuck. I just saw the other one. Oh, my God. They got lucky with these too, but they got one right here. You see that? And then they got one up here. Just out of your vision and away from the stuff. Yikes. He was just saying, dude, I don't know what road they drive down. He had the windshield tinted and had to remove it because they had 2 chips like within a couple of days. They must just be driving down a rough road. Can't tint over chipped glass. You can tint over a chip. The problem is just throwing money into something that is breaking. So just a chip can be fixed and filled depending on the chip. Most of them can just be filled. But it's a lot of times just an eyesore as well. And the thing to be careful of is the little cracks around it, little spider legs. A crack can form from a chip, though. Yes, they are different. So a chip can cause a crack pretty easily. But the little legs that come off of it, if they're just starting to spread and they're not too far out, then they can be filled and not spread. But if they're out kind of like past a quarter, you can really start potentially having problems. I'm coming over from PPF. I keep creasing and shrinking. Or I keep creasing when shrinking. Yeah, that's really, really common. Tint, you have to try and think of tint like vinyl and PPF are somewhat harder to learn when you've been, or tint is harder to learn in some ways when you're so used to stretching everything out. Think of window tint as it's already like pre-stretched and you cannot stretch it any farther. Your only option is to hit it with heat, and that causes it to contract together. But you can't do that out the sides. You can only do it out the top and bottom. So I got a piece of film there. We're going to clean the inside of the windshield, and then I'm gonna shrink the outside. So I got a few things. I hate when fingers go horizontal. Well, you direct them. You are the conductor. Sometimes it forms a wave. That's a good thing. As soon as it starts to form a wave, it's shrunk. A lot of people just go overboard. The waves are tension. That means that it's shrunk enough. Fabuloso dryer sheets? I wish I had some Fabuloso dryer sheets. Do they make them? We're using Snuggle, and you'll see when we get into shrinking what it does. Ooh, I got a screw for this one. We got those, and then I need this. Yes, they do. Ah, I've never tried Fabuloso dryer sheets. Oh, I hate this. I hate that so much. I broke a $1,600 windshield by just adjusting the mirror. You sure that's all you did, though? Really? I just tilted and... That's some shit luck, though. This is a scraper, by the way. This isn't a really small squeegee. This is a razor blade on the end of this, so... I used to work at Safelight. This is triggering me. Well, at least you get to remove broken windshield. I have to try and remove stuff and keep the windshield intact. That's right. We're getting all the bunk off of it. Why does Apex peel back on the edges? Try alcohol on the edges and then just go lighter on it with the heat. It still has some type of a curling problem just on the windshields after it's installed. Moisture sitting in between the film and the glass. It'll just slowly start to peel back sometimes. Not all times, but if you hit the edges with alcohol, that can help. It's echoing? Oh no. See, why did it restart? Question is, what did we do? Nothing. I was tinting a car. Any other devices connected on accident? I mean, there's so many devices connected on purpose. That we're not. Let me see. Is it good? Okay. Yeah, it should be good. Okay, let's continue. Still echoing. Oh, then it's an app thing. Here, let's try this. That might fix it. We'll try that. On TikTok? So YouTube's fine, TikTok's weird. It's definitely something with the app. Yeah, because it's not my streaming stuff. Well, this is how we fix that. We'll be back. Primary microphone. Hello? Yeah, I'm not really sure what's wrong with it. Should be okay. Okay. Activate. Hopefully this will work. Apex is a brand? No, Apex is a film line from a brand called GeoShield. We'll see if that works. Batter? Isn't that a fun thing? It's just... Dude, I was just trying to get a sound effect onto my soundboard over there. And then it's like, hey, you got a software update. And I'm like, I don't really need to do a software update, but I haven't done a software update in like 2-3 years since I've had this thing. And then I do a software update. And you know what I decided to do? Oh, let's just factory reset the entire fucking thing. 10 minutes before an appointment shows up. Fun. That's fun. They moved menus around. They revamped the UI. Oh, great. So now I gotta relearn how to use the fucking thing. That was fun. Have you ever said, you know what, I'll bottom load this? Probably. But not on a windshield. I know. With streaming gear, if it works, don't fuck with it. But you know what? I got my sound effect. And I think the sound effect's really appropriate. But they took away my Taco Bell. I need my Taco Bell ding back. I don't know what this is, but I feel like they were trying to remove it. Looks like they were trying to peel it. I've heard that sound effect a bunch of times. And then we were at a Bruno Mars concert. And they started with that. he It wasn't Bruno Mars. They had DJ Pee Wee. Did that so many times in like a bunch of classic music, or not classical, but classic hits. All right. Well, this is mostly clean. Now you can put some film and shrink it. Are you guys far from the Ambassador Bridge? No, not really. Sterling Heights. You'd be probably about like a 40 minute drive off of the Ambassador. Why the snuggle? Because I want this to smell nice when I install it. Ew. Okay, I'm gonna cut that off. I didn't like the way that threw. Well, that was far.
It does smell nice.
That's the whole point. I tried tinting yesterday and it was a success. Even did my dad's Tacoma. Oh, hell yeah, dude. Nice job. Start a business now.
Yeah, let me be the judge of that. Let me see that window.
The white tape? The white tape is glacade cut guard. All right, so we're gonna trim this. Sold in a few different places. Let's trim that. So when we're setting up a windshield, we want to trim it about like half to a full inch away from the side. Anywhere in between is fine. You want to cut it short of any obstructions. So the mirrors, the wipers, the side moldings, anything like that. Because if it's overlapping here, you're gonna have tension and it's gonna wanna like pull it off the glass. So you wanna just take a knife or a snitty cutter and just zip it. So that gives us a rough shape. Now, we need to just lay this out. So I'm gonna start with the center here. Where's my card? Oh, my shrinking card. Let's go get one. So you notice we got a lot of fingers on the windshield. You guys aren't actually in Detroit? No, not like in Detroit. We're in the Detroit metro area, though. You're in Detroit. You know, people say they're from Detroit, but are not actually like inner city. So we're looking for like a midpoint here. So I can tack it there. And what I want to do is either with your hand or you can pull it, either way. But you see, if I twist it upwards versus twisting it downwards, I will cause fingers to go higher or lower. So I just want to pull from the center and even it out, tack that down. And we're going to take the edge of the card, do that. See these side fingers? Or we take side fingers and we push them and they become vertical fingers. And then we tack that down. run to the other side and make this side look like that side. So we'll keep the same center point. Just pull, tack it down, and then side finger, vertical finger, and just tack down the very edge there. So now let's grab our heat gun, and we want heat guns to become very hot, so just put them up on high, max power, and then what we're gonna do is start shrinking this. So how much heat do I need? We need it to get hot so it starts shrinking, but that number can change quite a bit. So the idea here is if I just point the heat gun at my hand, from a far distance it's just getting warm, but I'm not doing anything. I'm not burning myself. If I get it closer, I can do the same amount of heat, but I have to be moving the heat gun. So the way to kind of figure out what temperature your heat gun should be, start with the heat gun 45 degrees in the direction that you're shrinking, and then just work into it. So no, oh, I see it starting to shrink, and then just hold it there. And as soon as you see it shrinking, just start moving it, and just keep it at that same distance. Just go a little bit, and you're gonna see these little waves begin to form. We still have vertical fingers that need to be shrunk, but these little waves here, those you push forward up to where you see those fingers again. So you don't push them very far if you haven't shrunk very far. And it's just repeating that process. You can do a few inches at a time just to get comfortable, but as soon as you start seeing these little waves, that's shrunk enough. If you continue to shrink that, it'll get sharper and sharper and sharper, and that's so much tension starting to form because we've severely overshrunk the film. You just want to shrink it enough so then it just pushes forward and flattens out. See these nice sideways waves? Perfect. And that's shrunk enough, and we're good. So top, we're gonna shrink in this direction, starting from the middle area. And again, we'll only shrink enough for those waves to start to form, like this. See that wave there? Versus this, does this look like that? No, so we don't push this yet. We just push this. And then we do it again. Where people get into a lot of hang-ups is they will shrink it like this and go, yay, and then they're gonna cart it all the way up here. No, these lines stop here. So why would I push these forward up to an area that I haven't shrunk yet? So always recognize where those little waves stop, and just don't push them farther than that until you shrunk that area. Another place people get hung up is they'll keep a heat gun farther back and they'll see the film wiggle and they'll hit some heat on it. But here shrunk, but this, I hit it with the same amount of heat, so therefore I now push it down. No. Does this look like this? No. So don't push it down. This, good. This, bad. This needs more heat. The farther edges always have the most amount of film to shrink because it builds more film to shrink, biggest curved part of the window. And then one last thing that people get hung up into about top corners is they focus more about getting the air out rather than flattening the film. When you flatten and stretch the film over the window, it gets rid of the air. So let me shrink this enough, and I'm going to show you what I mean by that. Let's pretend we were trying to pull a bed sheet over a bed, or we were wrapping a hood of a car. You know, we're trying to stretch some flat material over a curved surface. How do we do that? We would have to pull this straight up, but then I still have these, so we have to then pull this way. And when I do that, that flattens out a lot more. See that? So essentially what you're doing with a card is I got these curves. You don't just take the card and try and get the air to go out. You're trying to take the material and pull it flat. So that goes kind of out the corner. Top corners, these start to get brushed out like this. And then the rest of this can go up. So what that would look like if we just used our hands is this. We would pull it flat, which wouldn't hurt to do, and then you can just card it down. All we're ever doing with a shrinking card is pulling the film flat over a curved surface. So there's two parts. The heat gun does all the work in forming the film to fit the curve. And then the card is just an organization tool that you can push little by little and do small sections. So the whole reason that we have a dryer sheet underneath it is that when I push this, it sticks here. But until I put pressure on it, it's still free to wiggle. It's a light tack surface. So again, I got these nice waves. If I go more with the heat gun, they're just gonna get tighter and tighter and tighter, and it's gonna be impossible for me to just smooth these forward. I tried doing window tint, but I always had streaks at the bottom. They always kept coming back. Oh, so you had fingers, like air pockets popping up at the bottom. It's just a shrinking issue. So what can be confusing to people as well is I can get some of this film to lay flat before it's really shrunk. And that's okay to a point, but what happens is we need to shrink this some. So the more film that I compress together, there's tolerances to this. It'll keep pinching and pinching, but what happens is that can cause pretty severe fingers towards the edges to pop up, because you shrink it kind of enough to lay flat, but you really should have shrank it a little bit more. So the way that you know that it's shrunk is instead of it looking like this, it looks like this. And if you cannot identify this, then it needs to be shrunk more. So like I could push this end down and might be able to get it to stick, but it should be shrunk a little bit more. Where these right below it, so in this section right here, this is perfect. That's always what you want to see. What do you do when the finger gets closer and closer together to the point where it's going to burn? So you were doing exactly what I was talking about. You're just compressing too much film and you're not shrinking. What you can do is pull the film back up off the window, let some air underneath that whole area that you were just shrinking, and now you're just broadening that back out because you're just pushing film down before it's actually shrunk. So at any point in time, like just because I tack this down doesn't mean it has to stay like this. I can just lift it back up and then shrink farther and then lay the film down. But why are we doing the outside? Welcome to class. You are tardy. Please take your seat at the back of the room. All questions will be answered at the end. All right, now that it's shrunk, we're going to trim it to size. Type shit. Thanks, twin. Did you just like Gen Z the shit out of me? Is that what happened? I'm all right. No cap, straight bussin'. Yeah, I feel like my teachers did. Like, I don't even know what the fuck you guys are talking about. Is it on the fleek? I think that's old now. Okay, so now that is trimmed out. We can pull the tape away. We're still gonna touch up the top and the bottom. So with or without tape, when you shrink, especially you guys that push down the film kind of early, you're still compressing the very edge of it in this area. So when you trim this off, some of the film up here was basically holding this all flat. So when you trim your pattern, you should touch up the top and the bottom, and you'll see if anything else was gonna pop up. How do you know what we're saying without looking at the phone? It's like any good teacher. They just like have a sixth sense about all the shenanigans going on in the room. So I'm just gonna take a heat gun, flatten out the top and bottom. Basically anything like this. Just get the heat gun really close, blast it with some heat. touch it up. Doing this now will save you a lot of time because those same little fingers might pop up on the inside. Is it better to fully get it finished on the front than take it off and put it on the inside? I trimmed it already in the rear window. Do as much as you, if I understand that right, do as much as you can, or do everything you can on the outside so you don't have to do anything after it's installed. There still will typically be something to touch up, a finger, a little extra water to push out, something. But if you have something that pops up along the bottom edges of both the windshields and the back windows, it becomes way harder and way longer because all your moisture sits here when it's installed and wants to just keep popping shit up on you. How long have you been tinting? Tinting. We're tinting. Since 2009. So we're gonna trim out this tab here. Now earlier, we cleaned most of the windshield. We still have to go back over it and just brush it off. So I'm gonna do that now. Do you like when people call it tints? It doesn't bug me. Oh, and I need gel. So the gel just sits around the edges. And your soapy water is very runny. The gel will hang out. So it's really, 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 really difficult to keep all your edges perfectly clean. I've been tinting since '85, and I never used no gel. Soft hands, brother. I know, you just don't like change. I tinted for a long time without it too. Very good installs. I'm telling you, it's just nice to have and use. If you can do something differently, there will always be some cranky old person that doesn't like change. Soft hands. We all use soap, buddy. This is funny. Okay, so I'm gonna hit the edges here. And that's it. And that is enough to make an old tinter cranky, apparently. Sounds sensitive. Yes, it's definitely a 6 to like 8 month new thing though at this point. It does help with less contamination. It will not magically, like, what's funny is they think that just because you use it means that tinting is now easier. Like, or easy. Tinting's not easy still. You still have to learn a lot, but it just helps. I use a push mower instead of a zero turn. You are stronger. Good for you. You do that. You know what I did with my yard? I got a robot cutting it right now. It's great. So you still clean the glass like normal. You still install like you always did. You have the option now of hitting the edges with gel, and it just helps. Wipe this off. Will the heads-up display still work? Yes, in the exact same way I always did. I just got into tint 6 or 7 months ago. That's when gel started. How do you make sure all the water doesn't reach the car control systems? That's the towel. And we like to tuck it into the dash. Even then, some water can sneak past, but you want to just cover things as thoroughly as you can. So you don't just like set a towel on a dashboard. It's not just keeping the surface wet. I think some tinters literally think that covering the dash just means like throw a towel on the dashboard. No, you want to catch the water that's dripping down the windshield. And then it runs, sneaks in all the edges and then runs. Always try and catch that. We wanted to buy GeoShield Apex 36 by 100, but it's been unavailable for months. In what shade? Just a lighter shade, probably? So we're gonna rinse off our edge, just to be even more thorough. And we're gonna take this in here. Grab that lower quarter, keep it nice and flat. And then we're gonna tuck this into the lower corner on the windshield. I wanna get this just nice on the windshield, as close to the side where it's gonna get installed as possible, but our goal first is just to get it nice and flat. And so if you get this nice and flat on the windshield, it doesn't just fall off the windshield. It'll stay nice and flat as you try to unroll your windshield. See how I'm still a little bit off center? We can scoot that over. You charge your friends and family regular price? I have a friend that pretty much only ever pays me with a lemon loaf and a cafe mocha. But that's more like, I don't have many people asking. Friends and family depend on the friends and family. Some will definitely abuse it. So, just because you do it for free or on a deal doesn't mean you're on the hook for doing a worse install. If you have an issue with it, you better step up and take care of it, because they'll let you know about it. Okay, so this here, we have lots of air pockets. I can just take a hard squeegee and push all this out. What some of y'all end up doing is you'll squeegee here, squeegee there. Like, you'll just go all over the place and miss a lot of spots. You always want to start in the center and work your way out. This helps you do that, because what I'm doing with this is I'm spreading a nice even layer of water and getting a lot of the air out of my window. See? So now that's all smooth, but we still have a lot of water in here. Then it doesn't matter as much if you don't push as evenly, but you want to try and push nice and even, overlapping strokes here. See that water at the end of the squeegee blade there? Always make sure you're pushing hard enough to keep all that together. Because if you just like half push and then let go, you're going to leave big water pockets and trails behind. This is the Tri-Edge Pros Blade Wax. And now it's the other side. See all these big pockets? Big stretch from the passenger seat. See down here? You see how there's a lot more? That's what people leave behind from their harder squeegee blades without realizing it. Hang on, let me go to the other side. Which compares to the hybrid? The blue one. Blue one's gonna be about the same hardness. The teal one, or sorry, this teal. The fuchsia is gonna be the hardest. And even then, I wouldn't say it's a super hard squeegee blade. None of them are super hard. Orange one is very soft. That's why I almost exclusively use it as a cleaning blade. What gel do you use? And what is it called? This is the gel that we're using, OptiGlide. I've been using Instagel for a long time. This is thicker than Instagel. I can give you a comparison here in a minute. But let's take a look-see at our work first. See what we have to touch up. Wouldn't this F up the control center and make it F up all the time? If it did, would I be tinting here? People see water in vehicles and they freak out. I get it. Certain cars have a little more risk. Fords generally none at all. Little to none at all. But one thing that I do is, you see that towel? You see how it goes like all the way into that edge? Yep, Dodges for sure. We have some special videos. Hang out in the group, watch what other people screw up, take notes, and don't mess that up. You okay there? That is the customer crying about the water right now. Just use the wipers to clean the windshield. What is that? Oh. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go over it one more time. I haven't seen anything, but because it's nice and like there's water down here that needs to be pushed out, but I haven't seen anything concerning. So this, I can just do nice hard pushes, and I can really see right where I pushed. Nice and clean. Nice and clean. Fantastic. Also, I can read the chat better here, too. My tinter rarely puts even a small towel, doesn't believe the water shenanigans. I love those people. I've been tinting for 50 years and I never had a problem. Yep. Some people are just like that. And you know what? In some regard, they're just on the other end of the spectrum. They've never had a real problem that they ever remember with it. They can't be told anything. Their blind ignorance has been a benefit to them because they got to where they are. And they might do a lot of good work. But I'd always caution anybody. There's good in just about any way people do anything. They've never tinted a car after 2005. Some people they'll use much less water. They'll use the spray bottles, but it's just like, just don't. It's the attitude about it. It's the I can't fuck anything up. I'm amazing. Nobody can tell me nothing. That kind of shit is just like wild to me. You can learn something from everybody. What to do, what not to do. There's always something unique and good to be learned from everybody, though. But that's how some of those guys became business owners. They just, like, nobody could tell them anything. They were completely ignorant. And you know what? They just, fuck you, I'm going to do it. And they did. Doesn't mean that they couldn't run certain things better, though. I think that's where they're always get in trouble. Is they're so nobody can tell me how to do anything, and so I won't learn anything from anybody. All right, looks good. Now we're gonna wipe it down. Wrap it up. What film? This is C2 ceramic, 20 on the front doors, 50 on the windshield. Don't go, I got an important question. Well, you better ask it. Don't waste your typing on that, just ask your question. The pink chiseler. What's the best way to minimize a crease? Pink chiseler, I've never been much of a fan of that. So to minimize something, I've got a few different stages. I don't know if I can find my gator blades because I haven't had to use them in a long time. That usually means a window is done. These are pretty good. This is a Lidco card. I'll use either this little nub in here or this corner. And this is for like a lighter touch up, but these have really been a very like effective all-rounder. You just use less pressure. I'll use the back corner a lot of times on this. So I've got a small, let's see if I can you even see it? Where the tip of that is. There's a little air pocket that needs to be pushed out. I'm gonna take this, put pressure, and press all the water out. Oop, that's gone. I don't see anything there. Did you add the option for mini cleaner? No, I didn't, but I'm reminded every time. So if you keep telling me, it will get there. We're near the end of the stream, so now's a pretty good chance. We might remember at the end of this. Got a little bit of air. Okay, good. Do you have a link with all the main tools? So you want to check out the starter kits. If you go to 313tint.com and use the code 313tint, you'll save 5% on tools. It's supposed to be 313tint.com. You can save 5% on tools if you use the code 313tint. That makes sense. But we have the OptiGlide gel on there now. Oh yeah, and see, I'm in the middle of touching this up, so I gotta finish that. I double staged. We always get a little crease on the sides on those wide seals, any tips. That's honestly pretty normal. A little heat and touch up, and that'll just disappear. A big reason why those honestly don't bother me is because like you have a seal and it's covered on the inside. So you would never see the impression of where that was. And then you're hiding it on the outside. So in all my years of tinting, I've never had an issue because there's nothing really to be seen there. It's all gone. It just might bother some people that there was a little fold there. A fold there. But whenever you're tucking it into the sides, you're never trying to create a hard fold. You're rolling the film. Us bottom loaders don't get those. No, that's true. How to rid how to rid bubbles and creases from the tint that's been on there for years. For years? I mean, even for days. You can't get rid of it. You got to redo it. Bubbles and creases, if they're there within the first squeegee pass, they're always going to be there. You're never going to get rid of them. Pull it off and redo it. How do you do the windshields that automatically go up when closing the door? How do you do the windows that automatically go up? Okay, so you need to just trick the latch. When you open up a door, you have a latch here. On most vehicles, this is what tells the vehicle that the door is open. So when that opens, window goes down. So you open the door, you trick that latch back, and then window go up. Bottom loader plus plotter plus gel plus AutoZone tint. I think that's where a lot of people's minds go when they see this gel now, and they're just like, oh my god, they got it so easy now. Now anybody can tint. And I encourage all of them, there we go. I encourage all of them to actually go watch a new person tint. There's still a great amount of skill that is involved in doing good work. Okay, where's my cover? I took a cover off. I must put cover back on. But in order to do that, I have to find the cover. Don't forget to explain the gels. Oh, yeah. I did forget. I probably put it in the back seat. Oh yeah, I put it here. Okay. Good enough. Good. I talk a lot of smack, to be honest. I do hand cut. I have found it easier to bottom load since I know how to take it apart. Oh, then play to your strengths. I always encourage everybody to play to their strengths. If you're way more comfortable and familiar with taking stuff apart, don't stop. Your audio guys, remote starter techs, like anybody that's been working on other car stuff especially, dude, it's just second nature to be able to take that stuff off. In a lot of cases, it's not difficult. I just don't typically do it because it's also not difficult for me to just install it without removing, but I've been doing that for years. The easier way to install tint is to remove the obstacles. And the nice thing about doing that too is that you can always reference videos and other like feedback from people and just play around with it and take your time to remove a door panel, pull a seal, and figure that out, versus wasting material on just repeat attempts trying to two-stage it in the sake of not having to pull a seal. So if you remove the obstacles, that always makes the tinting portion easier. Okay, so for the gels, Instagel, this is what I've been using for a long time. And then we have one called OptiGlide. We have another one up here called Important Sauce. OptiGlide is going to be now the same type of thickness that Important Sauce is, and Instagel is just thinner. That's going to be the biggest difference. So when I spray this on the glass, this is what I used for quite a long time. See how that holds pretty well, but the longer it stays, it starts to run. I would generally try and spray this in a way where I'm not getting a lot of run from it. And OptiGlide, you can do a bigger mist. You can still do in a bit of a point too. It's harder with this spray head though. Just get closer with it. But anyways, this is going to hold a much thicker layer and stay really clean and clear without a lot of run. Does it come by the gallon? Yeah, that's the only way that we sell it, is by the gallon. Just the fact adding shipping to this is stupid. But it's not very expensive. It's $40 a gallon, which is the same price that we had Instagel. Versus Important Sauce, that was the biggest hang up with this is $130 a gallon, which is just wild. Are you sanding the squeegees? No. People do that. I never really like sanding anything. I don't like introducing grit to it if I don't have to. I just end up... there's a tool for the triages called the Smooth It. But I just end up replacing them too. That's just me personally. There's guys that use sandpaper. Want me to mute on non-English? No, it's not bad. I don't get much coming through my headset, though. All right. Well, this one's all set. Thanks for hanging out today. I'm going to let them know it's done and see what else needs to be done. Still waiting on them picking up a pallet. I hope they don't take forever to do that. Okie dokie. Oh, one more. I put 5% Pro Nano on my windshield and 5% dyed. Why does the Pro Nano dyed look lighter? Isn't Pro Nano ceramic supposed to look clearer and lighter than dyed? Every film is going to have a different look. People say ceramics are clearer. I always feel like that's misleading. Every film type and brand will have certain films that are going to look a little clearer, a little lighter, a little different. There's tolerances on that stuff. But Pro Classic is as simple of a film as you can get. It's polyester and it's dye. When you're introducing ceramics, you're introducing additional things. So you still have the coloring, which is the dye, and then you're adding a layer of ceramic. There's still going to be fairly clear, but no, I don't think that's right at all. Just saying a ceramic's going to be more clear than a dyed film. I think they can be very comparable, though. What about tint slime? Tint slime was sticky. That's why I like tint slip. I stopped using slime a long time ago. Some people like it, though. There's just a lot of different soaps. So what I find with most of the existing options, like all-type slime, tint tack, is they're made for general window films in the ways that adhesives used to be, but certain films have really aggressive adhesives. And so you need something that is going to be just extra slippery. And that's why I like Tint Slip. I still want to juice it up. I tend to go a little bit above 3 ounces in my tank, usually like 3.5. I love Tint Slime, the orange. That was my favorite one too for a long time. But it really depends on the adhesive of your film. So some products like dryer sheets, they just don't work, or the snuggle can be too aggressive with certain films. So all films are not created equal. Every adhesive is going to be a little bit different one to another, and you just have to find the products that you like best and tweak your ratios on, like water to soap, dryer sheet, dry shrink prep, gels, like all these things. They can just be a little bit different one to another. Have you ever had to recall a car for an installer error 3 times? I've definitely had to redo things multiple times. Like, I've had customers come back. Tint Slime Orange, I use it for Pro Nano and Apex. Wow. See, Mark uses the orange or the green one too. I just don't like. There's also some people that like their films more tacky. Rick would do that from Sun Distributing. He would always like bump his windows into place more so than slide them. I always want the film to be able to slide into place. I just find it easier. Alrighty, guys. Thank you for hanging out today. I appreciate ya. We'll have another one